My name is Ms. Talhami, and I'll be going through some review with geometry with you. So I know today's our first day, and I'm going to review some basic geometric terms and symbols that you really should know. A lot of this stuff you might be familiar with, so you can fast forward as needed. I'll be as quick as possible. Following this recording, I expect you to complete the quick attendance quiz. I mean, it's called a quiz, but it's for your attendance participation for today, as well as a very short castle learning assignment. So please make sure you take care of those two today, and I'll see you back again tomorrow after this. So if you can see, these are very familiar symbols that you'll see in geometry, so I want to make sure you know them. Angle, the angle symbol could look like this or like this. So like angle ABC or just angle B. Now, very commonly known, we call an angle by its middle letter, by its vertex, by the pointy part. So if I have an angle, this would be the B, this would be the A, and this would be the C. So this would be angle B. We have triangle symbol, so triangle, DEF. Point, so a point, we don't really have a specific symbol for it, just know that it's with a capital letter. So like, point A, I will always use a capital letter to represent a point. A line, so a line looks like this, has to have arrows on the end. So if I'm talking about line GE, it would be like this, versus line segment will not have arrows at the end. So I might say line segment DR. Okay, if I say the measure of, it might be a lowercase m. So if I say the measure of angle ABC, that's how you read this. It's the measure of. That's what it's asking. Can you find the measure of ABC? Ray. A ray looks like this or the other way. So I might have ray NT, or it might be this way. Notice how the difference is here. It starts from the end and goes to the T. And here it goes from the T to the N. Parallel looks like this. So if a line segment AB is parallel to line CD, look at how I just said that whole entire thing. It's almost like when you go to text somebody and you want to say because, but you use BC because it's so much shorter and faster. So here I would use, geometric symbols because it's so much shorter and faster. Perpendicular. I might say, and if you remember, perpendicular means they make those right angles, right? So perpendicular is like, DE. Line segment DE is perpendicular to line FG. Congruent, this one's super important. You will see this very often. Congruent means same shape and size. So basically, it's like saying the word equal. So I might say, triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. They're the same shape and size. Similar is not quite the same size, only the same shape. So it might be like if I have two circles, one's bigger than the other. So that's what it means. So, and the symbol is just the squiggle without the equal. So I might have two triangles. We could do the same thing. ABC, triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF. So that's how I would notate it. So really, that's just a rundown. Pause wherever you need to, where you want to review, or if you want to copy any of this down, just so you know. But this is just quick. Just know the difference between a line, a segment starts and ends at points, and a ray starts at a point but goes on forever in one direction. An angle consists of a vertex. This is the vertex of an angle. So if I want to name an angle here, let's say this was I can call this angle MAT. I can call it angle TAM. I can call it angle A, or I can call it angle number 1 because there's a 1 in there. But notice how, if I use the 3 letters, A is always the middle letter because it is the vertex of the angle. You cannot switch up those letters and have M in the middle. And then some closed figures. So if you see a closed figure, it could be something like a triangle or a square. All right, or my iPad decided to draw a rectangle. So that's just examples. I just wanted to throw it out there. And now to the more important part of this is just knowing these vocabulary words. Acute. So sometimes these vocab words come up and you really need to know what they mean. Acute means an angle that is less than 90 degrees. Some of you might remember that. So something that's like, 70 degrees is an acute angle. Less than 90 and greater than 0. Because obviously if it's 0, it's not an angle. It would be a ray. Here's a right angle. This is important. A right angle gets marked with that little box because it's equal to 90 degrees. I think you guys know that one. Obtuse is an angle greater than 90 degrees, but also less than 180 degrees. If you guys remember how much 180 is, here's an angle that's 180. I know I'm getting a little bit ahead. So this is equal to 180 degrees. So an obtuse angle could be like 120 degrees. So these are some key words. Some of you might remember them. So acute is small because it's so cute. Right is like a corner, like a right angle. It's like a corner. It's 90 degrees. Obtuse is like a big, even the word, I think of obtuse is like very big. And then straight, it's a straight line. A straight line always has 180 degrees. Almost done here. Now, labeling angles and sides. It's very important for you to see the difference here. This piece of a pizza here. So let's use this example. So let's say I have triangle A, B, C. Notice how I named the triangle by its vertices, because here's a vertex, and here's a vertex. So, look at this here. If I want to label two angles equal, so here's ABC, here's DEF. Look at angle A. Now, the angle is actually like the openness of this corner. This part right here is an angle, and this part right here is an angle. I would label it with, I call that an arc mark, because it's part of like a circle almost. It's a little piece. Now, if I want to say angle B is equal to angle E, it's a different measurement than A though. So notice, these two are different pieces of pizza. This is a smaller one than this one. So I use different markings, but these two are the same. I would use two arc marks now. So notice, this is the angle I'm talking about here. It's the openness, okay? Now, if I want to talk about a side, so let's do the same example. I might say line segment AB is equal to or congruent to line segment DE. Because I'm talking about this whole length of this side and the whole length of this side. Very important that you notice the difference between a side and an angle. How about this side and this side are equal in lengths or congruent to each other? So even the way I write the sentence would be different. So angle A is congruent to angle B in this, angle D in this picture. And in this, so that's these two triangles. And in this picture, I would say line segment AB is congruent to line segment DE. So notice the difference here when I'm talking about an angle versus here when I'm talking about a side. Okay. And the very last thing I'd like to discuss with you today, I promised you I'd make it short, is classifying triangles. So we know our angles. Now let's see if we can classify our triangles. If I have an acute triangle, that means I'll have a triangle in which all my angles are less than 90. So this would be 80. This could be 70. And then I'm going to let you know, some of you already know what the third one should be, but I'm going to tell you that this last one is 30. Okay, notice how all three angles are less than 90. A right triangle is when one of the angles is a right angle or a 90-degree angle. Then the other two angles would be other numbers, but they would have to be acute numbers. And then obtuse triangle is a triangle that has one obtuse angle. So notice how this is, 110 degrees. So if it's 110 degrees, then the other two angles would also have to be acute. So notice, I could only ever have one angle that's obtuse, or one angle that is right, or no angles obtuse or right. But I cannot have more than one. An equilateral or an equiangular is when all three sides and all three angles are equal. So we'll learn this more in just a bit. I believe it's our next lesson, but all three of them would be 60 degrees if it was equilateral or equiangular. Isosceles. Now I like to think of this I as like isosceles because you have two eyes. Now the reason why that's important is because in an isosceles triangle, you have two sides and two angles. Or here's another example, could look like this. Here's two sides and two angles, congruent or equal. And then scalene has no sides or no angles equal. So no sides and no angles, congruent. Okay? So very important for you guys to recall this information. That's just a nice easy start to our geometry review. And I'll see you tomorrow for some more. Have a great day. And if you have any questions, please message me on Schoology. Bye.